If you do these 5 C's that I'm going to talk about, I guarantee that you're going to have a better marriage or relationship with your partner. Do you find yourself wishing that things were better, that your marriage was better, your relationship was better? The 5 things I'm going to talk about is not always the first things you hear about, but stick around until the end. You're going to get some valuable insights on building and maintaining a better marriage or relationship. Hello, my elevating family. It's your girl, Sim. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, a warm welcome to you. I'm happy to have you. Today, I'm going to talk to you guys about building a better marriage or relationship. A friend and I was having a conversation this last week, and she said that she thought my husband and I had the ideal relationship. She asked, what are some of the things that I believe contributed to us having such great relationship? I started to tell her, and she suggested that I do a video. She said, I think you should do a video and put it on your channel. So here I am doing a video to share with you guys some of the things that have helped us maintain a great relationship. To give you a little bit of background on our relationship, we've been together for 9 years. We've been married for almost 6 years, and we have a fantastic relationship. And I thank God for that every day, because I know it's not easy. But I'm going to share with you some of the things that have helped us. We had an argument in our early part of our relationship, probably about almost 9 years. And at that point, we made the decision that this is not the way to handle conflicts. And so it was not going to happen again. I did not like the way it went. We were yelling, we were doing all these things, and it just wasn't the right way to deal with it. And we haven't argued since then. And it was through proper communication. And I believe there's nothing wrong with arguments. Sometimes that's how, you get your point across, and especially in the beginning stages, sometimes you struggle to understand each other. And so I'm going to talk about some ways that I think is better to maintain a better relationship. And for the sake of time, I'm just going to say marriage, but these are tips that you can use for any romantic relationship, whether they're your partner or your significant other. The first thing I'm going to talk about is communication. You hear about communication all the time in all relationships. And in a marriage, communication is vital. You have to create a space for somebody else, for the other person, to be able to speak openly and honestly about how they feel. And you have to be able to listen critically. In the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey talks about his number 5 habit is seek to understand, then to be understood. Oftentimes we go into a conversation trying to let the other person understand us. We're trying so hard to get our point across. The first thing is to figure out, what are they really saying? Not just passively listening to what they're saying, but analyzing, what are they really saying, so that we can understand what is going on and we can communicate better without passing judgments. Aim to get to the bottom of what are they really saying right now. Try to also be open with yourself. Of course, that takes trust and honesty, but try to be open about yourself and how you feel. Don't be thinking in the back of your mind, you're saying this, but this is not actually what you mean. Give them the benefit of the doubt that what they're saying is what they mean. And listen to understand their feelings. The second C I'm going to talk about is conflict resolution. The goal of any disagreement is to find a solution. And first, we have to find out what the real issue is. We can't solve a problem that we don't know what the problem is. It's not to blame each other. It's not an opportunity to yell at each other and say, oh, I'm going to get this off my chest. Because when you're upset, you will say things that you don't mean. And that breaks down a relationship, because when you're no longer upset, you want to be loving, you want to be caring. And sometimes the other person still remembers what you said when you were upset. It hurt their feelings. So when you're nurturing a relationship, you don't want to only nurture the relationship when you're not upset. And then when you're angry, you act based on your emotion and say what you want to say. You resolve the conflict in the appropriate way, in a calm way. You can always talk about anything. In my relationship, if we're upset about something, and if I feel like I'm not in the emotional space I need to be in to talk about this, I'm not going to talk about it. Sometimes it needs to be talked about a different day. When we're calm, when we're more emotionally intelligent, when we can look at the situation more objectively, and we can talk about what's really going on, what's the root of the problem here, and that way we can come to one common solution. So resolving the conflict is extremely important. Not in ways of aggressively shouting and yelling, but calmly getting the other person's point of view. Finding a common solution that we can move forward from without hurting the other person's feelings. Emotions will wreck a relationship. When you get angry and all the emotions are flying and all the words are going, we never call each other words. We never use words to the other person. That's not a nurturing relationship. You have to be able to maintain a relationship even when you're upset. Because love is not saying hurtful things. And if you love someone, you don't love them when you're not upset, but when you're upset, you don't love them anymore. Regardless of my husband and I being upset at each other, one thing we do, if I'm leaving the house or he's leaving the house, we kiss each other in the morning. And when we come home at night, we kiss and hug each other at night. And that's regardless of what the atmosphere is, whether there's something I don't like or whether it's something I like. Here's the thing. You don't know if when that person leaves today, if that's the last person you're going to see them, last time you're going to see them. You don't know that. And because of a little bit of upset, you're like, I'm not going to give you this side of me today. It's not a sometime thing. It's an all the time thing. And that is consistency. So it's very important to resolve the conflicts in a good, appropriate, and honest way. The next C I'm going to talk about is connection. My favorite. You have to like each other. Obviously, love is a vital part in any relationship, but you can love someone and not like them as a person. So you have to like them. You have to like spending time with them. My husband is my best friend. We're best friends. And, we spend a lot of time together. We do a lot of things together. We talk about pretty much everything. And I think that is so important when you're trying to build and create a powerful relationship. The foundation is great, because when you're on a solid foundation, when you build a relationship like that, when the hard times come, and things will get hard throughout the years, you have difficulties. But when you have a strong connection, it makes it so much better for your relationship to weather the storm when it comes. You have to find meaningful experiences that can create memories and build connection for you two. Prioritize alone time. We take our alone times seriously. I mean, we want to do the things that we want to do alone, and we spend a lot of times doing them. And just like everything else that we prioritize in our life, that's one thing that we do prioritize. We like doing things together, and we choose a movie night. We do dates. We, if possibly, go on trips together, where it's just the two of you, and just create experiences. Relationship is a constant building. It's not just that you build it and you leave it and then it's good. You have to constantly be working on it and building it every single day. And so, connection is super important. And in the process of that, you get to like each other even more and like them as a person, spending time with them. The next C I'm going to talk about is compromise. You're not going to have it your way all the time. A marriage is about two people coming together as one. You're going to have to consider the other person's feelings. It could be as simple as what we're going to eat today, where we're going to eat, or as difficult as where we're going to live. What area are we going to live in? And you have to meet each other sometimes halfway, sometimes in the middle, sometimes 90%. And that is hard for some people because sometimes you kind of want it your way. You gave up that privilege when you got married because you have to be able to make each other happy and comfortable. What really works well for my husband and I, it makes it so easy because I genuinely want him to be happy and he genuinely wants me to be happy. So I'm always trying to say, let's do this if that's what works for you. And he's trying to say, let's do this for you. And so we come to that common ground where we find something that works for each other because he wants me to be happy and I want him to be happy. We're not doing this for us, we're doing this for the other person. And that works really well for us because it makes it easy. And we never are hangry or upset or frustrated that, oh, I didn't get what I wanted to do. I didn't get to do this, or we're not doing it this time. Like, I could want to go on a vacation. If it's up to me, I'd probably travel, 3-4 times a year. He don't like traveling as much and he has other things to do. And so we have to compromise and say, okay, maybe we are only going to travel once or twice a year. But we find a common ground and we compromise to make it work because both of us needs to be a part of this and be happy. The next C I'm going to talk about is consistency. Consistency is very important. However you start, however you attract, you want to keep doing that. You can't start out dating and giving her flowers and giving him, gifts or whatever you guys do in the beginning and spending time and doing all these things and all of a sudden it's years. This is a main reason for relationship to fail. It's because we lack the consistency. We start out good, each other, we love this, we love that, and then we stop doing it. It's a conscious effort that we have to make to be able to maintain the relationship so that we feel like we're still dating. I still feel like we're dating. I still feel like it's the first year of marriage because my husband is consistent and I'm consistent. I always get my gifts. I get my date nights. We go for dinner. We go on vacations. We do movie nights. We hang out. We go on walks. We exercise together. We do a lot of things together that we started doing together in the beginning and we continue to do it now. I still, in almost year 10, will get up in the morning and text my husband and say, hey, wonderful husband. I hope that you have a wonderful day today. And, I still pray for my husband. We pray together. He prayed for me. I pray for him. And I'll be at work and the random text message come in from him as well. And it just makes me feel good. I look at it, it could be a rough day and I smile and I'm like, oh, I love him, And those are things that you do when you're dating people. And, people like that stuff because you get that connection. And then all of a sudden, you're no longer being consistent. So every year, I know that my husband is going to show up for me. But it's not one way. I'm going to show up for him. He's going to compliment me, and I'm going to compliment him. There are times when I look at him and I say, you are handsome, and he'll look at me and say the same, say I'm sexy or I'm beautiful or whatever. And when we step out together, I tell him, I say, if I wasn't on your heart, tonight we'd have a problem. I mess around with them, but we definitely have fun together and make it fun as it used to be, and it's gotten better. So instead of hit declining over the years, it has definitely gotten better. So these are things that even if you didn't start that way, I believe that these are things that you can now implement into the relationship and build it to be even better. If you don't like the way it's going, now is the time to make a shift and say, okay, what am I going to start doing? Because, honey, it's not always about you when you're in a relationship. Make it about the other person. If you're both trying to make each other happy, if you're both trying to say, okay, this is what I want, this is forever, I want it to work, I promise you, it's going to be good, it's going to be great. But you both have to put the effort, and don't look at the other person. Okay, maybe they're not doing the things that they needed to do. Not everybody knows what to do all the time. So all those things I talked about, starting with communication, that's going to be a good start. And that's where we got to now tell the person what we need. Sometimes you have to tell them. Sometimes you really have to. I mean, I had a friend came to me and said, my girlfriend, we were having a conversation and she told me, I was expecting you to get me flowers. He said, I never bought flowers for anybody, and it's never really been my thing. But then he went and bought flowers. What she tossed them in the trash because she was upset. She said, I didn't have to tell you to get me flowers for you to get them. No, I tell you, you get me them. And so, obviously he's not going to get flowers again. And so don't expect your partner to read your mind. They don't read minds, okay? And my thing is, if there's something that I need that you perhaps don't know that I need, I'm going to communicate that to you. And so what if I got to tell you what I need? You don't read mine. I don't expect you to know all my needs and fulfill all my needs. Maybe I'm sitting here, instead of me sitting here and complaining and wondering why you're not getting me the things that I need or why you're not filling this need, I tell you. And so it's up to you at that point, once you know what I expect and what my needs are, to at least attempt to try and fulfill those needs. So those are the tips that I have for you guys today. I hope that you can implement some of these in your relationship. If you are already, well, good for you. But if you're not, it's not too late. Okay, we can try to implement these things. It's not about, I always say this, it's not about finding the right person. It's making the right the person you find right. And so with that, I leave with you. Please, if you like my content, subscribe to my channel. It's a simple gesture that helps me out, help me to continue to grow and to be motivated to bring you more content. Listen, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. Until then, stay blessed.